Okay. Me and my friend actually recorded this video earlier, and I realized that I was screen capping the wrong fucking monitor, so the recording's botched. But I'd figure now that I noticed, I'm gonna re-go over it. So, it's gonna be weird talking to myself, but I'll just do it anyways. All right, let's get to it. So I noticed like right away you kind of stood up tall already, like even if I'm like reaching with my hands, you still want your hands to kind of defend your legs. So looping your hands is kind of risky, but the hand fighting starts pretty well. Definitely want to have this hand like over on the tricep. But now we get stuck into this battle, like fighting for this wrist. And when I uh, when I kind of pummeled off that wrist, I went to your head. And you had like a really good reaction here, where you tried to bump that elbow, but when you do the kind of this technique, it's called the throw by. It's difficult when the collar tie is pretty heavy. So in this case, like a shuck by is definitely the better technique to go for. But overall, this is pretty good. Your positioning's pretty good. You're standing up a little too high, but overall, I think it's pretty good. I've got your wrist. But as soon as that transfers, you tried to do a little throw by. Shuck by is definitely the right move here, but the idea is uh, the idea is there, which is good. So I hit a duck under. I don't chase it too hard. This is all pretty good here. When I go with that double wrist grab and I just kick your foot out. Now, in wrestling, this is good if you can catch yourself here. In jujitsu, it's fucking suicide. like when you kind of post, you take away your only kind of safe hand to defend, right? Um, so this is kind of a tough situation where you don't really want to just like concede. You don't really want to concede this like this pass or like you don't want to concede this takedown. So like the real solution here is just scramble and like try to either get your back to the mat or start heisting your hips and like pushing your hips forward. Um, it's called a Peterson, I believe. Yeah, the move's called the Peterson in wrestling. But what you don't want to do though is post your hand and kind of be on your knees like this because it gives you kind of a gives the guy on top like a free shot at putting a hook in. So the hooks go in, and then yeah, your arms are kind of tucked under you right now, and you get flattened. Now this hand fighting is like really good by you. I can see that your arm's about to get trapped, but you're really safe with this left arm. And then I notice like you're controlling the mat space right now, but it's okay because I have my choking hand kind of by your neck. But the way you kind of counter this is you bring your arm through the gap here. So I think that was a really good move on your part is bringing your arm back inside the seatbelt grip. So now I have two underhooks, and two underhooks with your back to the mat is going to give you the ability to kind of escape the back control. Now, when I'm here, you're kind of turning away, and I can think about like chasing your back this way, um, and I think I do. So here, I could have probably just kept like chasing the back here, but I decide to just pummel out and go knee on belly, and now we're back in that same sort of position from standing, where this is just a more dramatic version of it, but rather than being on your hand, you're on your elbow this time. So I'll go over here. So you start to turn away. So this is the same, like basically the same position, like hooks in, and you're on your elbow. And then again, the position repeats itself again. Like you're kind of up on your elbow here. This is always like this is always something you want to avoid is giving the space up with your elbow. So I can show you next time, but you really want to be able to low line your elbow and your shoulder. You want to be able to bridge up on your shoulder and tuck your elbow at the same time. And this kind of reduces the risk of either me taking your back, me coming over the top and taking your back, maybe even doing a belly down arm bar, or even just putting this foot, bottom foot in underneath and taking your back, or for me circling and going into like a front headlock. So the more you can kind of avoid getting up on this elbow and using your shoulder to kind of turn away, the better off you'll be. Like the more like the less advantage you can see to me. But if you end up on this elbow, it's suicide just about every time. So we kind of get stuck in this Kimura trap situation. Now, what you're doing in like grabbing here is good, but you've just got to really think about like pushing, like either bridging on top of me or like turning into me to stack me. And as soon as you kind of let go of my heel there, I switched to this leg to the other side of your head, and now it's pretty difficult to kind of deal with this. You get stuck like defending the far arm, or you get stuck like getting triangled. So there's no real good solution here. So kind of your defense here is to kind of win this battle and turn into me and hope I can't like chase your back or an armbar or anything. Or you can bridge all the way over and treat it kind of like a crucifix escape. But definitely letting go of this ankle didn't work to your favor because I pummeled over and then it kind of got out of control. So we slap bump. This is good. Like this stance right here that you have right here is exactly what you want. Your head's lower than mine. Arms are like kind of out in front protecting. You know, we're not in range yet, so this is fine. And notice that I'm standing a little bit too tall. But what you do, like coming out of the stance, I don't think is appropriate. Like if you could stay lower, I'm gonna be forced to lower, just for the risk of you shooting on my legs or grabbing my legs or snapping me down. But this is good. Like I still think you're a little bit too tall here. Like definitely squat a little bit more. But grabbing this collar tie was great, and you snagged my wrist on kind of when I was trying to pull it away. So it's exactly what we practice in class. Your stance here is great. There's nothing wrong with it. It looks really good. And I'm trying to shake my wrist loose, but you have a nice grip on it. And eventually I get it loose, and then I come to your head, and I think that's when you hit you fucking, you just punched me in the fucking face. but but this when you get this wrist, just don't hesitate. Like go right now. Like just snap and go right now. And the kind of the more you practice though, like the more confident your setup will be. But this is exactly what we practice in class. Now all you have to like you can see how my feet are flat. I'm kind of shoulder width. A little snap here and grab my leg and it's over. So this is all good. You try to hit the shuck, but you smack me in the fucking face. Looks good otherwise though. Nice, good control here. I pummel, and when I went to your head, you right away got in the inside of this. Now, definitely when you did this, I could have just disengaged and went for this leg here, but if you just were more in a stance, there would be this thing would be perfect. Like what you pummeled when you pummeled this in, it was great. Just lower that level, and you'll be better off. So So this is nice. Like you shot right away once you got that once you got that control, you went for it right away. This is fantastic. Um, if you notice, look at what my left arm does. I'm grabbing at your wrist, and that's gonna just give me enough looseness to get out. Um, Kind of what we talked about is treating that like ankle like it's a guillotine, and really pulling it up to your chest. Like later in the roll, you do it like perfectly, but here you should really be thinking about like pinching with your knees, lifting, and really hiking that thing up into your armpit and treating it like a guillotine. And you can kind of see how I grabbed your hand for like a quick second there, and that's gonna allow me to kind of twist my hip. Like here, I know I can turn my foot out and get out. So stance looks good. Get a little tall. This is kind of where you want to be at though. This looks good. This grip could be like looking to come inside. So I did what we did in class. I didn't hard commit to it, but you notice how I already have the inside control and yours is outside. This isn't necessarily bad if you want to do a throw by, but um, I don't think you know the throw by technique yet, but ideally you should be pummeling already for this. So I shoot loosely for it. I'm not like driving too hard with this, and you do a really good job at getting that leg back and sprawling. And this positioning is fantastic. Good shoulder pressure, good width with your legs, and you're scissoring your hips. So this is ideal. This is like totally perfect. Um, the only thing that's kind of saving me here is this arm, and this arm is just kind of loosening up a little, and I'm just wedging it in. So one big thing here that you can correct, what you're doing isn't necessarily wrong, but you can improve it. Is you want to stretch me. If you can stretch me off my base, I'm gonna be forced to use this arm for stability, and if I don't, then I'm gonna risk getting flattened. And if I get flattened in a head and arm, it's just obviously bad. So here, look how I'm kind of stretched. But as you kind of circle to the front, I'm gonna shift my weight back onto my heels. You see how the weight's on my heels now? So now I have the flexibility. I have an option. I can like either try to sit and get an underhook, or I can look to like arm drag your arm, and I have options. But you take a lot of options away from me if you can use that chin strap and start pulling my hips away from underneath me and stretching me out. So that's one thing you should definitely try to work on when you're here. But in terms of like your hand placement and your body positioning, your shoulder positioning, I think it's great. And so I pose for stability, and you start going for this guillotine. So, but you notice that you now have to stretch me to start getting into this guillotine. So, I go with the momentum, and I'm gonna use this hand that's light right now. This hand isn't very heavy. I'm gonna use this hand to push at your knee. Okay, but if you're here and you force me to post my hand near your leg, then if I tried to like de-weight myself here, I couldn't, because this arm would be carrying more weight if I was stretched out. So this, if I was stretched out, this arm would be heavy again, and then I wouldn't be able to push on this knee. But notice how all my weight's kind of on this back leg and your body. So I have this free hand, I push, and now we're here. I hop over. Okay, I'm not really like trying too hard to like break this control. Pulling at the hand, you're doing a good job at keeping your hands connected. So the next thing I check to see if I can slip this elbow off, and the elbow can't get slipped. And bridge me over. It's all good. So one thing I'm not doing correct here is squeezing with my knees, but I'm not trying too hard here. So when you get this bicep control, walk yourself away more. If you walk yourself away more here, I won't have the ability to pull with my legs. But if I really wanted to hard commit, I'm pretty sure I could off balance you if I were to yank you hard enough. So your butt's up in the air and your chest is facing down and you're hinging. The more vertical you can get, or the more or the more of a ramp you can kind of make, so the better it is. So either you want to be all the way up or all the way down, and you're kind of in this middle zone, and this middle zone will cause you a lot of issues. Also, if you were to open the guard from here, it allows me to kind of connect with your hips and your feet more. But if you're going to choose to kind of go to this double bicep control, you really want to keep your head connected. And you see how you're kind of hinging at the hip here? You're kind of risking a sweep if I was to like De La Hiva guard and lift you, you're kind of risking that at this point, but it's fine. And I love what you do next. What you do next is just amazing. Yes, that's really fucking good. The finish wasn't good, but the setup and your thinking here was just fantastic. You go immediately to this foot, stuff the foot, and then you go for this underhook and you pass right away. Now, you end up going over my knee. Sometimes this ends up being a knee shield, but it didn't this time because you got right past my feet. So this thing was like really fucking well done, and pretty stoked on it. You do make one error here, is that, you know, pummeling this arm out is good, but you got to remember you got to keep chest over chest. If you're chest over chest, this is gonna save you a lot of issues with positioning. In later in the video, you stick to that principle, but here, you kind of let your head get away from you. So notice how all my body is on this side, all your body's over here, and the only contact you really have is your shoulder. And this is going to allow me to throw my legs over. Now, you see how we're not chest over chest right now? And this is going to allow me to throw my legs. Um, Technically, I shouldn't be doing this with you because most people your size shouldn't be able to just chuck their legs over like this. But had I like been in your weight division, most of the guys are going to use this arm that's kind of up by the head to just bridge. They'll just bridge and kind of buck you off them, and then you're going to be stuck like passing the guard again. But um, not having chest to chest contact here and having your ear to my chest is going to allow me to kick over, and I kind of just get you with the cheesy move. Notice your arm positioning is pretty good here. It's more in like an arm. It's more in like a push up position. Yeah, like this is more of like a push up position. That way I can't flatten you here at all. Now I could like arm bar. I can go back to that same Kimura trap that we had earlier, but I'm trying to cheese you with a wrist lock. I'm really hoping you turn into me right now, and yeah, I I get the wrist lock. But, the only reason why this happened is because your elbow got stuck on this side of my body, and then when that happens, the wrist is available. Most of the time, though, people are gonna try and go in front of your face here, and they're gonna turn it into like a mounted armbar. But I'm just trying to hit you with the cheesy wrist lock. All right, so this is where you get a good single leg takedown. I think we're talking about the push-up motion here. Yeah, you definitely want your elbows kind of tucked. This is perfect. This is absolutely what you want to do all the time. If you can replicate the stance and be able to fight with it, that's exactly what you want. Like me, I'm way too high. You're low, and yeah, this is what you want. You want to be fighting from this. This is great. You got the double wrist grab, and then you switch to the collar tie. You need to just go right now, and I think you hesitate. Like so, I see your hand like disconnect. So you've got perfect control. You've got my head. You circle. This is all amazing. Your positioning is great. You're ready to go. But for whatever reason, you let go and then you second guess it. Just be confident in that. Like everything you did there was perfect. Like exactly what we did in class. Stance is good. Wrist grab. Collar tie. Circle. And then just shoot. You've got it. You've got me beat here. But you hesitate and then you go again though. So you circle, grab, and then I notice your head's on the outside, but you do a really good job and you bring your head back square. This is great. You lift, and now notice like I'm hinging at the hip now, and I'm struggling to keep my balance. And you've got a really nice tight grip, and this is your right arm in here, and you're deep. So when I go to twist out of this time, my I'm too connected to you, and I can't actually turn my knee all the way down, and that's how you're able to kind of prevent me from escaping my foot again. And your grip's tight enough to where my foot is actually like getting off the mat, and you're carrying all my weight, which is just exactly what you want. So So as soon as I go again, my foot actually de-weights. So this is perfect control, and then eventually you turn this into a pass or a takedown. Um, Here, I kind of got my foot in, but you managed to kind of pummel out, and then you end up knee on belly. And now here, you're more chest over chest, and that's why I'm blocked. Okay, so once I'm blocked, you maintain this more chest over chest, and now the last thing here is if you can turn your head, I don't got shit, and you do. So now notice how I can't really kick over you anymore because you've got this positioning is just so much better. And eventually you work this head over to this other side, and now this is just fantastic control. If I try to kick over, this shouldn't work. Um, it just works because I'm just too small and I'm flexible. But against someone in your own weight division, there's no fucking way this something like this will happen. Um, so I'll try like not to do this because it's not really realistic if you roll with other people. But so we kind of I'm trying to fish out an arm here. Here it's like we're back into that armbar Kimura stuff. I don't really like commit to anything too crazy, but just know that if I wanted to, I can bring my shin over top of your neck here and then kind of turn it into like a rolling armbar into the mount, like right here. I don't try too hard on it, and you start circling around, which is fantastic. Good instinct. If your head's over here more, it would help you, but now you just treat this like an armbar close guard stack. This is good. So here I'm gonna use my right arm to underhook you, and I win this underhook battle, which is it's not a complete deal breaker, but at this point you should be thinking about guard passing again, like a Toriando pass, and maybe a crossface, maybe a chin strap to turtle, like a like front headlock from turtle if I turn into you. Um, but letting me get this underhook, I think, is a big mistake um, that you could avoid. So regardless if you sprawl your hips, this underhook is just going to be an issue unless you can pummel it or you can start dealing with my head. So so we end up in this tight waist control, and now you're what you should be fighting here is this underhook. I wouldn't worry about your leg too much here because even if you get your legs undone, there's nothing really stopping me from coming up and wrestling you in like a dogfight position. So this battle here should be either cross facing the shit out of me because my head's in a really bad position, or winning this underhook. So um, worrying about your legs here isn't too big of a deal because even if you pummel this leg out, like with this leg loose, there's nothing really stopping me from just coming up right now. But so I start going tight waist and sweeping, and I turn it into a deep half, and then you'll just notice that I hook your foot here, and my arms are ducked out. I transfer my arm over, and then I just start pushing, and then we end up in this kind of sweep position. One thing you'll notice here is that this bottom arm, so I'm here, this arm right here is already hiding, and I'm going to tuck it in behind your knee. Now you do a great job and you get a butterfly hook in, and you can kind of see how you almost have a triangle choke. Now, I still have the initiation here, and when you kind of free this arm, I pull my arm out, turns into a stack pass, and doesn't seem like you were too prepared for it. So, just kind of some advice here is like I've already kind of shown my hand because your left hip is to the mat. When your left hip is on the mat, you already know that I'm gonna circle out to your right. So when I start stacking, you should be thinking about taking your left arm and pushing at my elbow, and you do like a kettlebell, like a Turkish get up, like with kettlebells, and you want to push my elbow away and start hip heisting. This is kind of something Marco does a lot in the warm up, and If you're familiar with the kind of the hip heisting thing, you basically take your right arm, push up my elbow, and then hip heist. Yeah, so you kind of like started doing it, but you got to really make sure you want to sit up. You want to stiff arm. You want to sit up, and usually like it'll work to your benefit rather than or you at least you'd have to like you'd make be making me work for my guard pass. So I get knee on belly, and then I think I had like a baseball bat choke here, but I kind of just let it go. This is good. I like what you did here. I This arm should be looking to like connect to the hip with an underhook, but your right arm here, you recognize that I'm trying to go mount or 3/4 mount, and you shoot an underhook, and it gets a little caught up in there. But this is the logic of this is really good, and I kind of like what you did here. Like right here, you're already making it. You already see me turning away, and you follow me, and you use this momentum. Like ideally, this right arm turns into an underhook, but you end up under my leg, which is still great, and you're gaining height, and yeah, I really like what you did here. Right away, you're kind of looking for that headquarters, but the bell goes off. So I definitely like your instinct here. You're already kind of looking to set up the headquarters. It's almost single leg X, but the idea I think here is good. Yeah, overall I think you did a lot of good shit. Um, One thing I think you did really well, especially well, is let me find it here. I swear is it kind of closer to the start. There's this kneecap pass. Oh yeah, so guillotine. Yeah, right here. This is good. Just make sure if you're gonna push on this bicep, keep your head low and walk your hips away. If you can walk your hips away and then stand up, this is gonna be a lot safer. Because here, um, at this angle, I could probably just pull you over because your head is so far over your hips. So that's one thing you could work on. More stiff arm and get those hips, like get that butt all the way to your heels, or get your chest all the way to my chest and start extending your arms. I can kind of explain to you better next time I see you. But this is good. Now, this is really bad for you, but you do an excellent job at kind of adjusting the position to your favor. And you fish out an underhook, blast that knee cut right away, and yeah, that's just fantastic. Just remember, keep chest over chest, and you know this cheesy shit. This cheesy shit probably wouldn't happen against someone your own weight, but overall, this was just a fucking great sequence. Well done. Exactly what you want to do. No hesitation. You know you're here. You recognize that you're in De La Hiva guard. Stuff it. Boom. Just fantastic. Yeah, that's really well done there. Another really highlight moment here. Good stance right away. Good wrist control right to the head. Just believe in that. This is perfect. This is exactly what you want. Just believe. Like this arm disconnected to grab my leg. Just know that. Don't hesitate, and you'll get this 9 out of 10 times. But you know, we go back around. We readjust. Straight into it again. Perfect. Good squeeze on that leg. Good control on the outside of that knee. I try to turn, doesn't work. Doesn't work again. And yeah, booyah. Yeah, just great. Yeah, that was fantastic. Now you fix it. You fix it from earlier, and you go chest over chest. Yeah, I love it. This is great. This shouldn't work. Normally, this like if I kick over, this shouldn't work. But what are you gonna do? Too bendy. Yeah, I love it. I like this little scramble too. Stay on top, and you're immediately trying to stuff these legs. I'll show you how to knee cut from single leg X. But yeah, overall, it's great stuff. There's a lot of good shit you did in here. A couple things you could fix, but overall, like for your level, yeah, you're doing a lot of good things.